scientists landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico. The rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil was the man who discovered the saucer.
What I thought was a star began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed.
The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach.
I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river.
UFO classified. UFO classified. No more plausible deniability. Fact, fiction, or the truth. You decide. And now, the new voice of the high desert, the hostess of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Erica Lukes, and I am so excited to be here live tonight. I was in Laughlin, Nevada last week for the Starworks Symposium, and I missed you, but there was a great show here with Dr. Richard Haynes and Robert Powell, and you can find those archives on KCOR if you want to listen to that great show. Tonight is going to be unlike any other show that you have heard. This is truly an event that I am proud to be a part of because I will be speaking with two men that are by far the most influential and important people in UAP research on the planet today. And I couldn't be more grateful, not only for my friendship with Ted Rowe, who I'm now working with a new organization that we're going to talk about, but also to be able to work with or talk with and communicate with somebody who I hold in such high esteem. Dr. Massimo Teodorani is an Italian astrophysicist and a science writer, and he has penned many incredible articles that I turn to for research that help me with the orange orb phenomena and all of this. It's important that you understand the gravity of his work. And we're going to be talking to him in a minute as we pull him in. He's over in Italy, so we hope we can get through to him. Right now, I have Ted Rowe on the line, who is the co-founder and the executive director of the National Aviation Reporting Center on the Anomalous Phenomena, NARCAP, which I mention every week. NARCAP was established in 1999. Ted was born and raised in Great Falls, Montana during the 1960s and 70s, and his interest in UAP and UAP research arose from local events and direct experience. Alongside with his work with Dr. Richard Haynes and the team of NARCAP, he has established and administrates the International Association of UAP Researchers, which is a brand new organization that will absolutely change the way we research this subject. And I'm so happy to have Ted here. Ted, thanks for coming on. Again, I always love talking to you, and you were so important in my life.
Hey, my pleasure, Erica, and just keep doing the good work you've been doing. It's rather impressive.
Oh, well, thank you. It's just such an honor to be able to work with you and to have you mentor me and show me the ways that we can kind of move things forward. And you have talked about viewing this whole issue as a tactical issue, and I love that comment. That's a really important comment, and I hope that through our new organization that we can really reframe the way we address this subject.
Well, thank you again, and we have to do this. It seems to me that ufology in many ways has lost its sense of direction, its sense of purpose, and more importantly, its sense of urgency. If we think these events are occurring and that they may involve extraterrestrial incursions, we need to spend most of our energy and motivation on resolving these things right away and determining what steps should be taken from that point forward. And I don't see ufology focusing much on that at all, with a couple of very bright exceptions.
Absolutely, and that's been something that you and I have talked about at length, and I've seen coming into this field. We spend a lot of time, I think, waiting for kind of the golden nugget or the holy grail, and that's come and gone. And to me, the Holy Grail is the data. And why we're not looking at the data and analyzing that and then moving forward from there is completely beyond me.
Well, you know, in a lot of ways, we are looking at the data, the historical data, and so on. But
Hello?
the issue is doing scientific research, bringing that forward, supporting that data with further observation and further testing.
Exactly. And this will be interesting, and I'm so excited to. It sounds like our very special guest of honor from Italy has joined us, and I want to just bring him in. But first, I want to tell my audience tonight about Dr. Te'o Durrani, because he is, in my opinion, probably the best researcher with regard to UAP in the world. And to have him here from Italy is something that I'm just beyond thrilled about this. He is an astrophysicist, a science writer. He received his PhD in astronomy from Bologna University with a specialization in stellar physics. He has been working as a researcher at the Naples Observatory and at the INAF Medicina radio telescopes, focusing on research about eruptive stars, extrasolar planets, and SETI. He's an expert in the physics of anomalous plasma phenomena and geophysical interest. He has explored the relations between quantum mechanics and consciousness, and he has a book that I have right in front of me. He has written called The Hyperspace of Consciousness. He has conducted groundbreaking and important work over in Norway with Project Heshdalen, and I have talked about that, I think, on every show. He has written several books, but I want you to really focus on the articles that he has written, especially if you're researching this. One of those is a scientific approach to the investigation of anomalous atmospheric phenomena light. And then you also have the great scientific inquiry on anomalous atmospheric phenomena light. I mean, all of these things I have right in front of me, and I just will say that this is such an important body of work for all of us. He also works with NARCAP, and there are lots of great technical reports on NARCAP. And Dr. Te'o Durrani, I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for waking up. I know it's very late.
Bye-bye. I'm happy to. And my apologies for my delay, but I mistook time. So fortunately, there is only 10 minutes of time loss. So you can ask me all that which you want, and I'm very happy I thank you very much for invitation, and very many thanks to Ted Rowe to be present here. I'm very honored for this program.
Well, thank you. And Ted, I know that you two have not actually, you've communicated a lot and worked with each other over the years, but you actually haven't spoken. So this is a great opportunity. That's really...
Absolutely. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. It's very nice to hear your voice, Massimo.
Very nice to meet you, Ted.
So how
I'm so impressed with your work, Massimo, and I just look forward to everything that you do. I know that it's terribly helpful for all of us as we move forward trying to understand unidentified aerial phenomena. And it's been a real pleasure talking with you about it and learning more from you.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, you work with NARCAP, and as I have looked at your work over the years and looked at NARCAP, I understand the importance of researching this and obtaining funding and taking this very seriously because of the potential threat to aviation safety. Can you talk a little bit about that and some of your work on that?
Yes, I can tell you that I started this work just after my PhD in 1992. I decided to write a report because I was, in my free time, I was reading a lot of UFO books. And frankly, I was very bored, annoyed by those books, because I wanted to find something that was scientifically interesting, namely that it was able to furnish to us quantitative information. So we need some system that allows us to obtain measurements and with measurements data. So I started with the Norwegian Missions 2 years later in 1994. It was a very nice adventure in Hesdalen in Norway. And after that I had 4 missions there and also elsewhere in the world. And I elaborated and analyzed a lot of data that I took. Of course, we don't have yet the answer to the big question, but at least we are able to describe the phenomenon quite well. We know what are the questions to put, and we know what we need in order to improve our knowledge.
And that is wonderful, and I really want to talk about some of the specific places that you visited with regard to that. Can you tell us about some of the active places and what you found to be intriguing about these places?
Yes, as I said, the first one was Hesdalen, and others were in the Arizona desert, and also in Canada, Ontario, and Ireland, and 3 places just in my region, in Italy, northern Italy. Well, what I found, wow, it's quite difficult to synthesize all that. There was a lot of work. We used spectrographs, magnetometers, VLF, ELF spectrometers, acoustic detectors, several instrumentation, radio wave measurements, and we found a kind of phenomenon that is not structured at all. It shows like ethereal lights, something plasma lights of ball shape. But this kind of phenomenon changes all the time, so you can see some light balls that are pulsating all the time, of several colors, like white, red, sometimes blue, and some others you can see something that is apparently geometric, like rectangles, square, but there is no solid thing. So I can tell you this. And also the most important part is that the phenomenon, when it is pulsating, is not because it is inflating like something like a balloon. As you know, the luminosity increases with the square of the radius. But it is because suddenly around the common barycenter there is a clustering formation, a cluster of lights that suddenly forms around a common center. So the appearance is something that makes us think to some kind of very strange natural phenomenon, apparently.
You know, and it is interesting, and I've for my own personal experiences and my research, I have found that a lot of times these objects typically, there will be one, and as you look at it or witnesses report, there is another one that looks like it is almost ejecting from the larger object, and then at some point joins back up, and this is fairly common in reports that we have.
Absolutely. I also saw that, but not in Hesdalen, but just here. You mentioned the ejection phenomenon. I saw it here many years ago, so it is quite common. And also the light balls that are uniting together, the opposite phenomenon, the joining balls, for instance. Yes, but there is a point. We have been concentrated in taking data, like spectra, for instance, of these phenomena, but sometimes when we didn't expect at all, something else overlapped with that phenomenon, and so something structured appeared. Of course, this happened only once out of 20 or 30 sightings, but it happened. And so we don't know if this is a selection effect because we were looking the sky all the time, or because there is some relation between this plasma-like light and something else, of which we don't know the origin and of which we don't know the nature. I cannot exclude anything. Of course, I don't exclude that hypothesis, but so far we do not have any proof of alien visit on Earth, but we cannot exclude it.
Right. And that is important. I mean, to be very critical and to, you know, for me as somebody who's not a scientist coming into this, I have very quickly learned the importance of science, the scientific method, and really trying to stress that to my listeners instead of kind of jumping on the spiritual bandwagon or something else. We need to take a very critical look at this, and we need to step back and look at the data and look at the research that you have done.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this approach is correct not only towards we scientists, because we are not a Pickwick circle, but we are people, of course, imperfect people, who can guarantee the surety of some kind of factor. If we are able to guarantee the surety, the fact that the fact is real, this is also a form of respect toward all the other persons. So we need to be absolutely rigorous, and we need to fix the threshold of noise in this kind of phenomenon in order to be able to distinguish very well the signal. So this is a duty that we have towards the people, and also a form of honesty toward humanity. So we needed to be very rigorous, but we also needed to keep an open mind all the time, and so we are trying to do, of course.
And that is so beautifully said, and that is very, very true, and I appreciate that. Ted, what do you, before we go to break, what are your closing thoughts of this segment with regard to that?
Well, of course, I agree wholeheartedly. We need an ethical and reliable approach that's trustworthy for those who would look at the work we're doing, and we need to hold to those standards as Massimo describes them. Well, one question I have for Dr. Te'o Durrani is, we both have been to a site in Arizona where these phenomena manifest. However, it isn't just balls of light that are seen. And I'm wondering whether there are sites where there are only balls of light seen, and whether there are sites where there are things far different from balls of light that are seen.
Yes, you want to comment?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Oh, yes. Well, I've been there, as you know, Ted, and
yes.
I didn't see much, but what I saw was quite shocking, because, of course, I cannot tell exactly the place, because there are some reasons. I promised to some people not to tell the location, but I saw...
And we agree.
Yes, of course. But I saw something just in the field of the telescope, the Questar telescope that was using something that was really very astonishing. There was a light that suddenly jumped down without destroying anything. It was something that was moving absolutely randomly, but from up to down. Then there was another light that was going round and round itself, and yes, and there are other strange situations of which it would take a long time to speak. But I don't want to speak about that yet because I have no scientific data in my hands. But I have taken some photos of those lights, unfortunately not spectra, because the light was quite weak and it was unexpected and it was needed a high exposure time for the photos. This is what I can tell so far.
Well,
thank you.
Absolutely, and we need to. We're gonna take a quick break here coming up. But I want to definitely talk a little bit about some of the places where we're seeing recurrent sightings like this manifesting. And there are many sites all over the world. And what are the commonalities? How can we try to move research forward and obtain funding and then go in there and really, really do some amazing work? And I think all of these are questions that we're going to talk about when we come back from break. But I want to just say that to all of my listeners, thank you so much for continuing to support UFO Classified. I am grateful every week when I hear from people all over the world, and the momentum is growing. And I feel that we are really, truly at a critical time of UAP research, and we are seeing some of the older generation pass away, and they're leaving us very critical information, and we can build upon that and then move forward with research, which is what we need to do. Tonight, I am honored to have two men that are going to lead us in a new generation of research, and I look forward to speaking with Ted at the UFO Congress in February, which will be really, really fun. That'll be a great experience. I look forward to actually meeting you, Ted. This will be great. So we will definitely talk to Ted and Dr. Te'o Durrani when we come back. This is Erica Lukes. You are listening to UFO Classified on the best radio station on the planet, KCOR. We will be right back.
Stand by. This is UFO Classified with Erica Lukes.
Erica Lukes.
The phone lines are open now at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More UFO Classified.
UFO Classified
with Erica Lukes on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. After this.
Where'd that shot come from?
Alpha 3 to Eagle 1. We've got company.
From Tay Publishing, codename Eagle Force, the saga begins.
I see them, Alpha 3. All units stay low and let them come.
From the eyes of a special ops officer, Joe Michael Riggy brings to life this amazing story of survival, the unknown and the unexpected.
Here they come. Hold your fire. Hold. Now.
Codename Eagle Force at TayPublishing.com.
Now, broadcasting in digital HD radio.
What if maintaining a healthy weight was as simple as drinking a cup of coffee? With Valentis Coffee, it's that easy. Harvested from the world's most pristine coffee farms and packed with the purest ingredients on earth, Valentis takes losing weight to a completely new level. At Valentis, we believe everyone deserves a chance to be healthy and fit. It's pure, natural, healthy, and delicious. Click the Valentis Healthiest Coffee banner on the KCOR Digital Radio Network website and take the Weight Loss Guarantee Challenge. Valentis Coffee, simply the world's healthiest coffee.
When danger is imminent, will you be prepared? Now many mobile devices can bring you critical information from local sources you trust. With the unique sound and vibration, wireless emergency alerts keep you in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Monday nights are about to become hauntingly good, as Reverend Sean Whittington possesses the airwaves with Vegas Supernatural. Tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Vegas Supernatural, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. There's a war raging between good and evil, The question is, which side are you fighting on? Tune in Monday nights as Reverend Sean Whittington sets the new standard for paranormal radio with some of the most influential personalities in the world today. Vegas Supernatural, hosted by Reverend Sean Whittington, every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The one show even the devil doesn't want you to hear.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
You're listening to UFO Classified with Erica Lukes, where the truth isn't hidden beneath the black lines of a Sharpie.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
To be on with Erica, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Radio contact.
Share your thoughts on the show on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Or head over to the live chats at KCORradio.com.
The audience goes nuts.
And now, your host of UFO Classified.
Are you ready?
Erica Lukes.
Erica Lukes.
Welcome back, everyone, and happy Fantopia Friday. I am Erica Lukes, and I would like to give a special thanks to all of my friends in the chat room. Thank you for being here, and to all of the listeners all over the world. We are so appreciative of you taking time on Friday night to tune into the show, but also to spread the word, because to me, giving you all a sense of empowerment and then showing you all of this incredible research that has been done by people like Ted Rowe, people like my special guest of honor tonight, Dr. Te'o Durrani. This is important work, and this will revolutionize the way we approach the subject of unidentified aerial phenomena and research. So I would like to join both of them back to the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying up so late over there in Italy.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, it's just incredible to have you here. And I'm looking at several of your articles here that, like I was saying on the last segment of the show, I turn to when I am researching anomalous light phenomenon. I'm looking specifically at spherical unidentified anomalous phenomena, scientific observations and physical hypotheses, danger evaluation for aviation, and future observational plans. And this is something that is quite intriguing, and I would really encourage people to visit NARCAP so you can look at this technical report. But tell us a little bit about, and I know Ted had some questions, but with regard to the aviation safety aspect, what are some things that take place with regard to this that could definitely impact safety?
It's a question to me or to Ted?
Actually, to both of you, because you both have a lot of knowledge on this.
Massimo first.
Okay. Well, I was invited by Ted Rowe and Dr. Haynes to write a paper about what might happen if some of these phenomena approach airlines sometime. Of course, I think that the most important problem that can be posed by this kind of phenomenon is just electromagnetic interference. Of course, this happens not only to airplanes, but also to places that are down, like power plants, houses, or so. In fact, some kind of this kind of phenomenon has been documented also by Dr. Mark Rodegier in the past. But of course, if you have an electromagnetic interference with the instrumentation of an airplane, especially a big airplane with a lot of passengers aboard, well, the situation can become very dangerous. So this is the reason why we are obliged to take electromagnetic measurements with instrumentation ranging from the long radio waves like the VLF, ELF range up to the short radio ranges in the microwave ranges, and also using magnetometer, because these measurements can help us to prevent any danger aboard an airplane. So scientific measurements are also a guarantee to the safety of the travel. As I know, it's something very important, and not only electromagnetic interference, but also sometimes a risk of impact. I just learned from some of my collaborators from Canada that in Canada there was in an airport, I think it was Toronto Pearson Airport, there was almost an impact with an unidentified object that was looking like a balloon with an airplane. So also that possibility of impact must be, studied, and there is a lot of cases of short approaches in that sense. So I think that there are two factors: one, the electromagnetic interference, and the other one, the possibility of impact, and also this one cannot be avoided sometimes. And so we have also to improve the radar covering of the sky. So this is what I can tell you, but it's not exactly my field, but this is just what comes to my mind.
No, that's very important. And Ted, will you weigh in on that as well?
Well, sure. You know, I've done some work with NARCAP, and of course worked with Dr. Haynes and listened a lot to the work that he's offered as well. And the risks that we see range from loss of separation to near mid-air collisions, and certainly, as Massimo has said, transient or permanent electromagnetic effects on onboard electrical systems, as well as crew distraction and other types of problems that lend themselves to hazards. These things also can manifest inside of restricted airspace around airports and this sort of thing, and cause quite a problem in terms of managing air traffic around them. Sometimes they're detected on radar, but it might be a characteristic that they're intermittently detected on radar, not always. Because we have many reports where the pilots actually asked for radar confirmation, but only a few reports where they received an affirmative response. So we have a lot more to look at. But another risk that I see is the mistaken identity or the mistaken opinion that one of these things will get out of the way of an airplane. And it might very well be some species of powerful ball lightning or something that could have a great deal of, it could wreak a great deal of havoc on an airplane. So those are our concerns mainly around the hazardous aspects of UAP.
And that is a really great point. And I think that a lot of times we say that it will get out of the way, or there isn't a situation because nothing has happened yet that has posed a threat to humanity. But to me, I believe, when you look back at some of the Foo Fighters sightings in World War II, and you look back at some of these cases and you really dig deep, I mean, there are cases out there where it has not worked out well for the person flying the plane. Right. And we need to take this very seriously.
Indeed we do. And NARCAP has done that. That's been my contribution as an administrator, is to try and help this research move forward. So that when efforts come along, like Dr. Te'o Durrani with his UFO data project that he and Dr. Mark Rodiger are working on. We really need to get behind these guys and help them move their process forward. Many of you probably haven't heard of Dr. Te'o Durrani, but I suggest that you look him up, and if you can, send some money their way. They really deserve the support. These are some serious people, and they've done some good work already.
Absolutely, and I just wanted to give when I heard that UFO data was out there and they were trying to acquire funding, and there were the best people in the world that really understand the science behind this and the importance of methodology and obtaining good equipment and doing field research. I mean, I was so excited, and I think everybody in this community was thrilled, and we are behind that 100% because this is where we need to go, and we need to support this. It's incredible. And the people that are involved in UFO data, I mean, let's talk about some of those amazing people.
Sure. Well, it's of course Dr. Te'o Durrani, and then Dr. Mark Rodiger, who founded the Center for UFO Studies and managed the Journal for UFO Studies for years, and has done a lot of research in the field, worked with J. Allen Hynek originally, co-founder, I believe, of QFOS. Leslie Keane, journalist, wrote an influential book and has done a lot of articles and behind-the-scenes work, actually sued the government for data around the Kecksburg incident. And then Jose Ley, who's the executive director of CFAA, which is the Chilean government's official UAP research team. So it's a powerful first tier. These are people that are serious. My team, NARCAP, has a relationship, a formal relationship with the Chilean government team. And so there's a network here that is developing with instrumentation and powerful researchers running the program, and then administrators like myself that are trying to help screen for these guys and make these processes happen. There's good things going on here, and I really hope people will step up and, throw their $10 in the can and help these guys make their process move forward.
Absolutely, and I just want to say one more thing before I let Dr. Te'o Durrani speak, but I really feel that if you are going to invest money for anything, I mean, it makes so much more sense for you to spend $10 or $30 to contribute to good scientific research where you will see something, at the end of this, because I think we can throw away a lot of money and we're not contributing, and it is of really dire importance that we contribute.
If they don't do it, it isn't going to get done. Help them out. Absolutely.
And I want to go back to, the anomalous light phenomena, because to me, this has been something that is my passion and something that I've been researching and studying. And with regard to specific places, I mean, Australia, you see the Marfa lights, Brown Mountain. Dr. Te'o Durrani, can you tell us if there is any distinction between like a low-level nocturnal light and something that would be up next to an aircraft? I mean, can we make that distinguish? Can we distinguish those two?
Sometimes it's quite difficult, because when an airplane is approaching, is just landing, its lights can simulate sometimes one of those kind of lights, but we are quite trained to distinguish those two, but it's necessary to stay many nights and know very well all the route of the airplanes and also the routes of the cars, because for instance, if you have a foggy weather, and a car is moving, is going up to a hill, sometimes it can be passed for those kind of UFOs. So it's we have to be extremely careful to that. And one distinction, scientific distinction, clearly is to take spectra of whatever is flying over our head, because it will be science to make a distinction. We know very well what kind of spectra are produced by airplanes, by cars that are driving up to the hills. And so what we have to do within the UFO data project is just to take data of all that which is passing over our heads. We have a system, we do not have yet that system because we are just building up a prototype and we need more funding for that. But we need to take data of everything, and after that we are able to make a selection of what is important and what is not. We know what are the spectra of airplanes. Of course, we can distinguish also through the shape of the lights. And this is the reason why an automatic platform that is monitoring 24 hours a day, possibly, is very important, because an instrument doesn't mistake. A spectrum that is taken correctly doesn't mistake. It is the spectrum that tells us what is going over our head, and not only an eye impression of a person. So I want to stress the importance of our UFO data project. Ted has been described it very, very clearly and correctly. We have been doing several tests, in particular with spectrography. I want to point out that there are several skills inside our group, both on the engineering side and also on the physics side. For instance, Dr. Ron Masters has done several projects about a new kind of spectrographs, very simple gratings, and also wide field and no-slit multiplex spectrograph. That is very important because high resolution and wide field can give to us a better physical information of what the object is. For instance, if we assume that really UFOs from possible alien civilization are really flying over us and are able to create, to produce electromagnetic interference, we are waiting from them a very strong magnetic field. So what I want to tell you is that a big, huge magnetic field of the order of many hundred thousands of Teslas is able to produce an effect in spectral lines, in the sense that the spectral line can be split in two parts, and we can measure the separation of the two parts of the spectral line that is split, and from that we can measure exactly the magnetic field intensity only from a spectrum, if we are so lucky to see spectral lines in the spectrum. But we can see this very well only if we have a very high resolution. So now an instrument projected by Dr. Ron Masters, so you can find the patent online of his spectrograph. This instrument is just the perfect spectrograph for studying UFOs, because you don't need to put the light, the target, on a slit, but it can catch the light on a wide angle. Even if the UFO is just not on the field of your telescope or camera, it catches the light, and this can be analyzed. And it is quite high resolution, at least 10-50 times more than a normal resolution of a common grating. So spectrography is absolutely important, because we can understand a lot of things like the pressure, density, and the temperature of the gas that is excited or ionized, and also the magnetic field, as I told you. So this is exactly what we do in astrophysics with stars. So this investigation is, in a way, applied astrophysics to other light sources but the physics doesn't change. And sometimes it might be very favorable because these lights are very luminous, and when the light is much, a lot of photons reach our instruments and it gives us very good data in the sense that the signal to noise ratio is very high, so we can do a good physics if we are lucky enough. So if we are able to, if we are in a condition to have enough money funding to put a prototype in operation, we can obtain all of this data without any need of personnel staying there in the night. We can just sleep, but the machine makes all this alone. So in fact, we are just thinking of solving several informatics problems for how to say, piloting all the system automatically. So this platform is very important because we can distinguish a lot of things, including meteor, for instance. We can do meteor research. So this is also of importance also for other kind of research. And I frankly don't understand why, after working so many years, after a lot of know-how that we acquired, I don't understand why people didn't want to give enough money to us only to make a simple prototype. Maybe I might understand why. Maybe there is an error of strategy. For instance, I have to be very sincere. The name UFO data, the word UFO inside that, I think is not a good choice, but it's my opinion, of course. It's not a good choice strategically because it keeps apart our colleagues. Because when they see the word UFO, they don't even read what it's written inside our page. But our page is full of technical things. And if only they would read a bit more, 3 or 4 lines more, they would realize that it is practically an astrophysics page. On the other side, the average people that is attracted by the UFO thing, when enters and reads inside, doesn't understand anything because there is a lot of technicalities. And so we have to find a compromise in some way. I want to tell to the people, to my colleagues, but to the general people that this is a serious work that we are doing thanks to the initiative of Dr. Mark Rodeguer and also Professor Alexander Wendt and all the others. And it's not an egoistic how to say, game that we do between us, but it is a challenge to the knowledge, and our efforts are dedicated to all the people, not only to science, but the method is science, of course.
Absolutely. And it is so important that we all support UFO data. And I have to say that the website is beautiful. And I actually have watched a few videos on the UFO data website that really educate me with regard to how I can research this. And that's incredibly important. And I believe that the people that are out there, the people that are listening tonight, the people in chat are people that want to know the truth. They want to learn more about how we can fully engage this, and that means learning about the scientific method, utilizing that, and really carrying this forward. And I really feel that a lot of people in the UFO community have mistakenly been kind of, people have this idea that they're wearing tinfoil hats, and they're really not. They're good people that want good information, but they have not been given that for a long, long time.
Yes, absolutely. You are right. And I think, how to say, I think we have to change attitude. The point is that scientists are like are humans in some way. They are not robots. And so there is a sort of gossip inside the corridors of our ambience. So when some specific words are circulating, well, they are very suspicious. But they have to understand, my colleagues, that we are not searching the dirty water. We are searching the baby. So it's important that we don't throw away the dirty water with the baby inside. So this is very important. It is also very scientific to discern the signal from the noise. There is also a problem with a lot of hoaxes in the UFO case. You can notice how many hoaxes can be built up by several persons, and scientists are very suspicious. I'm also very suspicious, but of course, at least I have, excuse me for the term, I think I have the balls to go forward.
Absolutely. And on that note, on that great note, we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back. The best is yet to come. I'm Erica Lukes, and we will catch up with you on the other side of the break.
Listen very carefully.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
This is UFO Classified, live every Friday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there, just waiting to be discovered.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
For more information on the host of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes, upcoming guests, as well as links to the past shows,
visit her website at UFOclassified.com.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.
Now, broadcasting in digital HD radio.
The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil was the man who discovered the saucer.
What I thought was a star began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed.
The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach.
I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
No more plausible deniability. Fact, fiction, or the truth. You decide. And now, the new voice of the high desert, the hostess of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes.
Happy Fantopia Friday, everyone, and welcome back to UFO Classified. The chat room is on fire tonight, and I have lots of questions to ask, but I want to, for those of you just joining us, tell you about my two people, my incredible guests tonight, because I can't even express to you my excitement, my gratitude for them spending their evening here. Their work is incredibly important to all of us. Dr. Massimo Teodorani is an Italian astrophysicist and a science writer who has authored one of my favorite books called The Hyperspace of Consciousness, which is available on Amazon.com. He is an integral part of UFO Data. So please visit UFO Data and donate. Look at all of their great things going on there with regards to instrumentation and conducting field research. And then Ted Rowe, who has started a new organization, the International Association of UAP Research, that will change the way the mainstream scientific community deals with this, and we are going to do great things, I have no doubt. But gentlemen, welcome back. I want to start really quickly with a couple questions that we have from our chat room, and one from UFO Author with regard to the spectral analysis equipment. Where can one examine design of the UFO spectral analysis equipment and use? Is there a place that would happen, or a website? Would that be available on UFO data?
You mean where this kind of spectra can be analyzed? You mean that?
Well, I think specifically what she was referring to was examine the design of the analysis equipment and the use. So not necessarily on the end, I mean more on the end of the equipment, because I know that she has interest in this.
Well, concerning the project of the design, she could write the name Ron Masters, Dr. Ron Masters, and then Googling Ron Masters and patent multiplexer wide field spectrum, no slit spectrograph. She can find all the technicalities there. Another possibility is to use a simple grating, for instance, the rainbow optics spectrograph that can be applied in front of the lens of a camera, and just very simple. And if the spectrum shows lines, because sometimes the spectrum doesn't show lines at all, but if it shows lines, and the lines are very, how to say, the amplitude of the line, the intensity of the line is very strong, it's possible to do good science also with a simple grating of high quality, putting it in front of the lens of the camera. And there is also another very practical system that can be built up by persons, simply taking away the layer, the surface of a CD-ROM, and applying, just taking it, cutting it away from the CD-ROM, and gluing it in the lens of a smartphone. So it's possible to take spectra all the time of light that is passing. It's possible to, everyone can take spectra. In fact, if they want information on how to take spectra, they can contact me, and I will tell them how to do and where to send the spectra, because there is a lot of good software that can be analyzed. I'm not quite sure if I answered correctly, but
no, that was absolutely perfect. And I have to say that this is important information, because so many people that are getting into this really want to know how they can collect good information. And I mean, I have a friend in chat room, Wayne Miller, who photographs some amazing things, and you know, I think people are exacerbated because there aren't any good organizations necessarily to report things to, and they want to be empowered. And so I think that getting to fraction grading or using the CD is very critical, and that will give you an extra layer of information.
Absolutely. If, for instance, if a person has his or her smartphone with during a night in which huge sightings, very luminous sightings occurs, it's just sufficient that they apply that CD layer just in front of the lens of the smartphone, and just click. I can show how good spectra can come out from that. So also normal persons can collaborate to take scientific data. And if the phenomenon is very luminous, and if spectral lines are intense, well, they can furnish very important information. So in some way, it's possible to involve a lot of persons to collect information everywhere in the world. For instance, it could be possible to teach this at high schools, for instance, how to take spectra of UFOs, for instance, and create a coordination center that collects all this information. So we need not only instrumentation, but we need a very solid organization that coordinates and collects all the information that is coming from every part of the world, because much is lacking because there are some people that don't tell anything. But this is a scientific problem, and we want to offer an explanation to everyone, but also everyone must collaborate to us, because it is the biggest question that everyone wants to know the answer.
And that is great. You've just summed that up perfectly. And I think for me and a few of my fellow researchers, I know that I feel people want the knowledge. They are investing in equipment. You know, infrared technology has come down in price substantially. And so now we can get out in our backyards night after night and videotape, get things. And so how do we develop protocols for the average person like myself to get out there, collect data, and then share that in a central place, so we're able to reach out to more than just one or two places? I think this would be very powerful.
Absolutely. It's also a question of education, because here there is a sort of, how to say, taboo with the UFO problem. People must go beyond all the hoaxes that are diffused, of course, and they must understand that there is something that is important in the middle of that trash, and that something might be very important, not only in case to prove eventually the visits from someone else, but also for fundamental physics. And this is very important because, for instance, a light phenomenon that is able to be bright for so long time, up to 2 hours, sometimes like in Esdalen, poses a very important challenge in the physics sense, because what kind of energy is able to produce so much energy for so long time, and above all, what is the main confinement mechanism of the plasma? This is very important. And I want to mention here the big important initiative that is, of course, going on since several years, thanks to Professor Erling Strand in Norway, who is educating students to the scientific method by, motivating them with the mystery of the Esdalen phenomenon. So that one is a motivation factor, and the students learn how to use off-the-shelf instrumentation on the field. In fact, he and also Professor Bjorn Gitle-Hauge brings all those students in the field, in the Esdalen area. They are very enthusiastic about doing that, and at the same time using those instruments, they learn the scientific method. So the fascination of the mystery of the phenomenon on one side, and on the other side the rational methodology to take the data. This is a wonderful education, and I think this initiative should be spread elsewhere in the world, also in Italy, because here we have quite important know-how, because we also have a strange place where strange phenomena are seen very often.
And that is, I could not agree with you more. And I talk about the importance of Professor Strand's work and his team because they are engaging a younger generation and they are teaching them the importance of science. And I love this, and we should be doing that here. And I really hope that we can change the sentiment and engage a younger generation and create a sense of excitement, because this is, our world is full of so much wonder, and we just are. The more we learn, the more we understand that we are not the center of the universe. And it's important now that we're privatizing space and that we're developing technology that we understand that, and we also think outside the box and perhaps come into all of this without bias. And that's something that... Go ahead, Ted.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to interject a little bit here in that, we're at an interesting time in UAP research where citizen scientists are starting to step forward. They want to understand the scientific method. They're looking for rational logic engagement of the phenomenon, and whatever it may lead to, they want to get that answer. And they've learned that ufology in general really is not delivering for them, because there's too much speculation and entertainment rather than a focus on finding the answer and doing it in a rational and logical way. So I think we're at a point where we can take advantage of this. It's part of the reason I established this association. I'm looking for researchers that have done original research, that have made a rational expression of their study, who are dissatisfied with the current status quo, and who understand the importance of science and scientific engagement. And with the guidance of people like Dr. Te'o Durrani and Erling Strand and others, we may get a lot further down the road to understanding these very strange UAP phenomena.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I think really, like you said, Ted, the great things are happening, and we are engaging some bright minds that aren't necessarily involved with science in the scientific field, but they can provide such great resource for all of us. And I think that we can work together. Oh, absolutely. And it is such a pleasure to know all of these people. And I hope that, we can kind of break down some barriers. But with regard to empowering somebody and teaching them the importance of this, Dr. Te'o Durrani, do you tell us a little bit more about this anomalous light phenomenon? And if a person was going out to view things, what would make this object or these objects anomalous?
Yes, one is the kinematic behavior, because like in Isdalen, but also in other places in the world, you can observe movements in the sky that are absolutely impossible according to the laws of physics for a body that has a mass. It's impossible to make it right angle turns in the air in so short time. So this is a big anomaly. The other one is also that the phenomenon is able to hover, to stand still for a long time on a fixed position, and this is impossible if it's not a helicopter, for instance. And another very, very important point is that, like in astrophysics, we learned a lot of science thanks to the fact that we have been using not only optical instrumentation, but also several wavelengths, like the radio wavelengths, the X-ray, UV, infrared, and gamma. Observing the sky simultaneously, using all these wavelengths together, we learned a lot of much more physics than 1 century ago. I have good reason to think that the UFO phenomenon, what we see of the UFO phenomenon, is only a minimal part of what it is really. I tell you an example. I was in Esdalen near the Oyungen Lake, so it's quite close, 7, 10, 8 kilometers from the Esdalen main spots, and we saw a light that was hovering over the lake, and suddenly this light disappeared, but we had a night vision system, and we pointed at the light, and we saw that the light was still there. So what does it mean? It means that if we use not only optical instrumentation, but also infrared, for instance, in case also ultraviolet, we can learn a lot of much more information, just like we got much more information in astronomy. The physics of the phenomenon ranges all over the wavelengths, and so we are obliged to observe simultaneously using different instrumentation at the same time. For instance, my strategy is that we have to observe the phenomenon using, of course, video cameras in the optical, but also infrared thermal imaging cameras and radio in the short and the long wavelength all together, because when we collect all the data in the different wavelength ranges, we can have the correct pictures. You know that the entire electromagnetic spectrum that is ranging from the ELF waves up to the gamma rays, the optical is only 1/1,000,000th of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. And we have, since quite 30, 40 years, a lot of instrumentation that can be coupled with the optical. So it's important that we use also infrared, for instance, because we can learn much more, and we can see things that normally we cannot see at all with our eyes. And so, well, this is, maybe I went out of topic, but this is very important from a scientific point of view, observing in all wavelengths.
Absolutely, it is, and I think this gives our listeners some very important information, and I think that we can use that. I know that every day I'm trying to purchase more equipment to view things in different wavelengths, and I think that there's great people like Ted, and I know a fellow, Charles Lamoureux from Canada, who is doing great work with regard to getting different instrumentation, and he's a one-man operation, isn't he, Ted? And and I think that it's people, and Ted has actually captured, and I will send his video to you because he has captured some pretty startling things. And it is amazing to see how sometimes these objects can be in pretty close proximity. Do you ever find that this to you, and I know you're looking at this from a scientific perspective, but is it ever startling, and does it ever cause concern for you?
Yes, I might tell you that some kind of similar experience has happened to me too in Esdalen in the year 2000. When I was with my colleagues on the field in Aspaschiol and observation spot, and we had a small light. It was an elliptical light, and it was about 3 or 4 feet across. That light passed over our heads and stopped something like 200 feet away from us, very near the trees. It was like a big firefly. It was very impressive because it was standing still there. The light was not very strong, not typical of the Esdalen lights, but it was there. It was very close. And I approached with the camera and with the grating But my colleagues were so shocked that they told that if you don't come back, we will leave you alone there. And so it was, yes, it's true. And so I was able to approach about 100 feet, and I took a photo, only a photo. There was no time to put the grating because my colleagues were escaping with afterburner system, and so and so I had to come back. But in those moments, I am very cold, totally cold. The scare comes delayed after 2 weeks, for instance. Having a lot of nightmares also, but in that moment we have to be very cold. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what kind of dangers they can be. Possibly the phenomenon is also producing radioactive radiation. So we also had the Geiger counter, but at that moment there was no important radiation.
And that's great. And I'm going to and I've just got to cut you off right there because we're going to go to break. We've got just a couple seconds, but we're going to talk more about this. We're going to pick this up when we get back. I'm Erica Lukes. This is UFO Classified. We will be right back.
Stand by.
This is UFO Classified with Erica Lukes.
Erica Lukes.
The phone lines are open now at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
With Erica Lukes on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. After this.
Gee, it's so quiet. Too quiet. Terribly quiet. Awfully quiet.
Do you have an hour to kill? Well, crank up those EVPs, spirit boxes, and walk the haunted halls of the unknown with UK's very own paranormal investigator, David Cook.
You guys ready for this?
The Ghostly Hour, live Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.
And now, you're mine.
Come hear first-hand accounts of some of the most famous ghost sightings, photos, and videos from around the world. Skeptics, believers, and spirits both good and bad. Welcome to the Ghostly Hour, hosted by David Cook. Live every Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
3 guys, no tie.
Yes, hello. I'm trying to see if Madonna is home. My name is Gersh. I voted for Hillary today, and she had promised people who voted for Hillary a blowjob. Is she home? Hello?
Hello?
3 guys, no ties, Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific, right here on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Alien Deceptions, a suspenseful sci-fi romance thriller by Tina Marie, featuring the tantalizing Erica Jones and the mysterious Russell Hamilton. An out-of-this-world book of fiction based on years of document facts and files the government does not want you to know about, at least not yet. Alien Deceptions by Tina Marie. Available now at Amazon.com or get a signed copy at TinaMarieEntertainment.com. Get your copy now.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light. Into hyperspace. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. For Hyperspace, the one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace, hosted by Solaris Blue Raven.
Solaris Blue Raven.
Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Want to take a ride? Take a ride. Take a ride.
This is the world-famous KCOR.
That's the only station I listen to.
You're listening to UFO Classified with Erica Lukes, where the truth isn't hidden beneath the black lines of a Sharpie.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
To be on with Erica, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Radio contact.
Share your thoughts on the show on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Or head over to the live chats at KCORradio.com.
The audience goes nuts.
And now, your host of UFO Classified.
Are you ready?
Erica Lukes.
Erica Lukes.
Welcome back, everyone. I want to say thank you to all of you listening from all over the world. This is a great opportunity to learn about research and the history of all of this. And I thank you. Get on UFO Classified on Facebook. Like, share, get involved. And I also want to talk a little moment about the International Association of UAP Research. You can visit the website at oh, this is such a tongue twister for me. IAUAPR.org. I know Ted's laughing at me, but find more out about that. Please donate. We are very excited about this, and Ted will talk about this in a moment. But first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Te'o Durrani for staying up so late. He's over in Italy tonight, and it is an honor to have him on the show, and Ted. But Dr. Te'o Durrani is an Italian astrophysicist, a science writer, and probably the most important person in the field of UAP research. And I'm honored to have you here. And before we went to break, we were talking a little bit about being in close proximity to these objects and then feeling, this is a dangerous, this is so shocking to you as a human being to encounter something like this. It's so out of the ordinary. And as a researcher, how do you, when you're confronted with this, how do you deal with that close up, and how do you stay kind of cold and then collect the information? And I just have either of you. Both of you have been in situations like this.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was talking to Dr. Te'o Durrani on the break about an observation that I had at a site here in the United States that there were three of us standing there looking at a row of red lights from about 50 feet away, and we couldn't even get our cameras up to take a picture of the darn thing. I know that as I've trained myself to this point in life, I would never have that problem. But as an unprepared person, when I was confronted with a fantastic, I was not equal to the challenge. You really have to prepare your mind to do this and to make sure that you understand what you're going to do and why you're doing it. So you see the lights, you know you have diffraction grading on your camera, you pick your camera up and start shooting and collecting diffraction information. You don't focus on the kind of danger you might be in at the time. And that's the only advice I can really give you. You're going to war in a sense. You need to have your wits about you. These sites are very unusual, very strange things happening there, and you really need to be paying attention to what's going on. And you got to get fear under control if you're going to bring back good data.
And Dr. Te'o Durrani, how do you feel about that? You've been probably in some of the most unusual places in the world that have recurrent phenomena taking place. How have you dealt with that? It sounds like you're a lot better than most people would be.
You mean how did I feel? How did I do when I approached the phenomenon?
Yes.
Oh, well, I was very cold. I was really very cold and not even excited because I have to make the decisions very shortly because I was aimed at taking data, simple data, but data. And so I was I felt like a marine, able to face the problem, because this is my work, but it's also my passion. And so I wasn't afraid at all to approach that thing that was very close to us. It was like a big firefly, show of low luminosity, standing still on the trees, quite close to us, about 200 feet, and I approached about 100 feet. Well, it was. I remember that I also used my binoculars to try to see better, and there were also many other small lights below that light, and there was a black shadow that is moving like a pendulum. It was possible there was a residual light, and so I was able to see that, but of course I didn't tell all the rest to my colleagues, because if not, they would really left me alone there. Well, it was not the only time in which there was an approach. The other time, maybe more, I'm not quite sure if it was more shocking or not, but we saw a sort of triangle of lights that was coming from south towards our direction. My colleague told me, look there because it's coming toward us. I thought it was the Cassiopeia constellation, but it was moving. And it came just over us. It was a triangle with 3 lights on the vertices. There was no central light like in the Belgian cases, but with the binoculars I could see quite well the fuselage, like if we wanted to call it so. So it was something structured, definitely structured. It hovered over us for about 1 minute. It rotated and it turned off very slowly. It disappeared. It didn't go away, but just disappeared over our head. So I tried to. I was very cold, of course, and we were very astonished, and we were not the only group that observed that event, but there was also another group on the mountains about 3 miles away from us, and they saw the same thing. So that one was definitely an object, a structured object. It was not the North constellation of satellites, because it was rotating. I could see it rotated just over our head. So it was something that reminds a very classic sighting, similar to the Belgian cases, and also of that kind of UFO that is seen elsewhere in the world. But there was not the central light. There were only the 3 lights, and so yes, it was very, very astonishing. But we couldn't take any data because there was no sufficient time to activate, not even the video camera.
And you know, that brings up a great point. I mean, so many times you get critics in the field saying, well, with the advancements of technology, why don't people have more photos of it? And I think that there is there's something at play here. I mean, first of all, it's hard to take photographs, especially at night, and then you've got that aspect of it that perhaps something is stopping you from taking that. I mean, there's so much that goes into this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I have so many more questions. I can't believe that we're coming up at the end of the show, but I just would like to ask you, with regard to this and how we are going to break down the barriers between what we're doing, what you're doing specifically, and the mainstream scientific community. How can we do that?
Well, I think it's not easy. The first thing that we should do is that we should try to fight the diffusion of hoaxes in the net, because this one is a very serious source of noise, of disturb to our research. And then we should make a lot of conferences, technical conferences inside academic institutions, just to show directly to them what we have done, what is our know-how, what we can do, and all the rest, so they realize themselves that this is a very serious thing. And I'm quite sure that if we organize systematically a chain of lectures inside astrophysics observatory, physics observatory, but also other faculty institutes, conferences and lecture, they would realize what we are going to do. So the only way to do is just to go there and speak technically and show all this. And so they would realize, of course. Yes.
Absolutely.
I think in addition to that, or maybe to facilitate that, having an authoritative, qualified, peer-reviewed source of information for science and academia to trust is very important. We need to establish a peer-reviewed journal, in my opinion. That's part of the goal of my organization, is to make this information available in a way that is trustworthy so that science and academia can actually look at it and digest it and further the questions. And then along with that, as Massimo says, a robust series of symposia and conferences to help roll that information out and make it available, and an active effort to reach out to specific science and specific academicians to look at this material and make an educated decision versus trying to glean nonsense off the internet. That's been our big problem, is that a lot of good research is done by these organizations, all of them, and mine included, and it stops when we publish it on our website. Once it goes to the website, it's the kiss of death. It never is seen again, really, and nobody really looks at it. It doesn't gain momentum. It stops there. That's why if we have a peer-reviewed journal, we have the opportunity to take that information to a trustworthy, semi-unbiased source and then spread it to the rest of science and academia.
This is a great initiative, Ted. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much, Massimo. It means a lot.
And this is going to be, I really feel that this is the perfect time to do this. And I feel also that you are absolutely correct in saying that the information stops. And Ted, you and I have talked about this a lot, the flow of communication, the flow of information. And there's so much important research, historical information, like by Barry Greenwood, Fran Ridge, all of these people, Jen Aldrich. Yes. Yeah. And this is, we have to work to get all of this information out. And I think that some of the older people in the field have been not only discouraged, but they've got other areas they want to focus on. And we need a younger generation to move in and take this information forward, but not only to get that information, but to move it out to mainstream science, to move it out to mainstream media. I mean, we have to engage this on all levels.
Oh, agreed. And it really starts with people like Massimo and Erling and Dr. Haynes and others who are making a sincere and educated effort to get to the bottom of the UAP question, what they are, what they might be, what they are not. Very important.
And I just want to say that for people who are out there, and this is one question I want to ask both of you, people spend a lot of time debunking things. And yes, there are hoaxes and cases out there that should be written off, but there is a lot of genuine things, phenomena that is taking place, and this anomalous light phenomena is something that makes up a bulk of the sightings reports that we see, on the New Fork database, on the MUFON database. And so how can we encourage investigators, researchers, the public to take this seriously?
Well, by giving them a qualified, authoritative source of information. I think is the first thing. Right now, if you get on YouTube, UFO sighting, big title on there. There's no analysis. There's no white paper. You don't even know where it happened. You can't see a map where it happened. There's nobody to talk to. It's just up there, And there are a number of promoters of this sort of thing, and that this is what Massimo was talking about. We need to find and prepare a source of information that is completely separate from the mainstream flow of conversation about UFOs and UAP. And that's what we're doing. That's what our problem.
And Dr. Te'o Durrani, I mean, how do you view that? Give us your final thoughts since we're getting ready to wrap up for the evening.
Okay. Concerning the witnesses cases, like for instance the New Fork database, it's important that investigators are able to make a screen of the selection of the data. The data must be very well selected and before being put on a database. It's important. The witness cases that constitute the classical part of UFO study might be very important in addition to the use of instruments, because I myself did an experiment which was published some years ago on the NARCAP website, thanks to Ted and Dr. Haynes. I analyzed the testimonial cases of UFOs occurred in New York State, Connecticut, and on the Ontario area in Canada, and I wanted to compare the number of inhabitants of the places where the sightings were done and the number of sightings. And it was very clear that what is important here is not the number of sightings, but it is the ratio between the number of inhabitants and the number of sightings. This thing helped me to make a lot of statistics that showed me which are the true hotspots. In that case, the true hotspots were very small hamlets with a small only a few inhabitants, but many sightings. So that is the hotspot. You might ask, but why do you think this is important? It's very important because it is only from the statistics of analyzed testimonial witness cases that we might know where exactly to place an automatic station where we can get more probably scientific data. So we can use statistically a lot of witnesses in order to how to focus the investigation with the physics instrumentation.
And that is wonderful, and I've felt the same way looking through the database with MUFON, understanding that there are definitely commonalities when you look through good, credible cases, and sightings clusters are appearing in specific locations decade after decade. And I've always felt as well that we need to get people out there with instrumentation to collect data, and that's critical. So I'm so excited for all of you and anything that we can do to help, including kind of getting you involved with Fran Ridge and Challen Holt. They've got a great new thing out with Madar, and I will tell you about that. I'll send you some messages about that. But just really quickly to close, what are do you find that there's a mineral or rare earth content? Is there a gravitational anomaly? Is there something that is drawing these objects to a specific place? And I know that this is something that we're just throwing out there, but were there any commonalities?
The question is for me, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if it is a natural phenomenon, in the case of a natural phenomenon, we know now quite well that in places like fault lines, it's possible that when particular minerals like quartz make a friction together, they they create the so-called piezoelectric effect. And this can liberate voltage in the atmosphere and might create the phenomenon, like also during the earthquakes. It has been observed many times. So there is a relation, a connection between the territory and the location of a sighting. But I can't find out a specific reason why these kind of phenomena would like to be close to specific minerals. This I don't know. Looking at the witness cases of so-called structured UFO phenomena, I saw that they are very interested in water. I don't know why, of course, and also in electric and nuclear plant. These are the location in which they are most interested. But I cannot tell you more because I don't know more except for the geophysical part.
And that is wonderful. It's a great way to end this. And Ted, tell us a little bit more about how you are going to bring all of this forward and give people a voice internationally. And I'm not quite sure Ted might. I know that he's coming in and out, and I know he's in. Are you there?
Here.
Great.
Yeah. Well, basically, the idea is to publish good work wherever we can find it. We're looking for PhDs doing this work all over the world. There are people that we haven't heard from, like Milan Čurković out of Yugoslavia. There are other scientists out there doing work, and they might sense that they're alone, or they might be well organized, and we're the ones that are in the dark in terms of who's doing the good work. But the whole point is to call attention to it, look in a global way at this situation. We have whole quadrants of the world we don't hear from. We barely hear from China. We don't hardly ever hear from Africa. The Middle East, very, very intermittent information there, rare conversations. We can do better than that. We need to reach out to these people. It's a global phenomenon, and we're not going to solve it by ourselves. We need to bring in other minds. Good work's being done outside of the United States, and we don't even know about it. We act as if we're the only ones even thinking about it. And my point with this project is to change that attitude and to help bring that good work to light for all of us.
Thank you. And that is exactly it. There's so much work being done all over, and we don't know about that. And I am supportive, and I am here for both of you because I truly feel that both of you are pivotal to moving this forward. And I can't thank you enough for being here. Ted Rowe, please, all of you, go to the IAUAPR website.org and learn more about this organization that will definitely change the way we interact with this and engage mainstream science. And then please learn more, read about Dr. Te'o Durrani, because his work is, like I said, this is the backbone for my research. You can find that on NARCAP. You can also just do a web search and look at all of his important work and then read his books. And I have the Hyperspace of Consciousness, which you can find on Amazon. So get that, learn more about these people, and support good, intelligent, critical work. This is vital to all of us. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here tonight. What a great show.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Oh, thank you. Get some sleep over there. I really appreciate it.
It was such a pleasure to hear your voice, Massimo. Thank you very much for taking time.
Yes, it was very pleasure for me to hear you, Ted. Have a good day.
You too. You guys get some sleep. And I'm Erica Lukes. I will be here next week on the best radio station on the planet, KCOR. I would like to thank my producer, Tina Marie, who runs such a top-notch station. I feel at home here. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you send your questions and comments to UFOclassified.com. And you can find me on Facebook. I will be sharing information with you by NARCAP, by Dr. Te'o Durrani, by Paul Dean, Barry Greenwood, all of these important people that will move research forward that have made significant contributions to this field. Thank you all. Stick around for a lovely night of ladies on KCOR. I am Erica Lukes, and I will see you next week.
Listen very carefully.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
This is UFO Classified, live every Friday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there, just waiting to be discovered.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
For more information on the host of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes, upcoming guests, as well as links to the past shows,
visit her website at UFOclassified.com.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network.